What? Welcome, plungers. Thank you for tapping in, as usual. So, in this episode, we're going to talk tuning. We're going to talk about tuning a $25,000 car to upper S2 status and having it being an all-purpose sleeper. We're going to talk about spotting tuner scams. In the event labs, people put up tunes that are clear scams. And we're going to talk about the difference between a level 1 tuner and a level 7 tuner. So first, we'll start with this car, the Sylvia K's 1994. It's $25,000 in the auto show, and as you can see, stock, it isn't bad. I believe it's a B class, so stock, it isn't bad. I'm going to show you 3 setups that I have for this car and how you adapt to tuning and driving, because I've become a way better driver and a way better tuner. And maybe you've noticed or not, I haven't been posting very much, but most of that time has been taken like doing deep dives into the game and trying to provide a service. Like other people out there have certain things on Smash already. So AR12 has the insider information. Black Panther, he gives you a lot of funny, engaging content with some insider information because they have bigger channels than I have. So the service I want to provide is actual tuning, actually playing the game, because I think I'm pretty good at this game. I'm not the best in the world, I'm not the greatest, and if those guys have YouTube channels, please put a link in the description, because I am more than willing to learn. But I am also more than willing to share everything that I have learned myself so far. So, with that said, we're gonna pull up to this hub over here. And we're gonna check out the other 2 setups for this car. Okay, so the first setup is the 961. Now, all my setups are top tier, all 3 of them. We're going to get into the rest in a moment. But first, here's the one with the wing. I would consider this lower, slightly lower than intermediate, slightly. So I would say this is still an intermediate car, but let's check it out. Compared to the one we were just in, if you can see, or if you can remember. I gotta show how good the handling is, right? I can't do the regular. And we'll also get into my new view. I changed it at the wrong possible moment. Because one of my viewers told me that I don't, due to past changes that I made, upgrades, that my cars weren't good for this view. So now I get the cars correct and proper with this view. And it's so much to the point that I actually stuck with driving this view. It makes me feel like I'm more inside the car. But as you can see, this car has great speed. Great speed. And you can see the points that I'm just racking up. Okay, we're almost to the base here. There we go. Okay. Now, let's go check out the second one on the list. A lot faster. It is a lot faster. So we'll go to my designs and paints. Let's find, oh no, not my designs. Paints, upgrades and tuning. So we go to my tuning setup and we'll throw the 966 in here. Buy the parts necessary to convert it a little bit higher than it was, just a little bit higher than it was. And I think that $1,000 is just removing the wing and adjusting the differential. I had to adjust the differential. The differential is different, much different. Now here we have it. And you'll see this one has a much higher top speed, but it's a little sketchier. So this one has a medium skill requirement. I mean, I might be making it look easy, but this is not a terribly easy car to drive like the last one. But you can see it's a lot faster. And this is where it gets into the elite Lamborghini range. Lamborghini, Ferrari, those cars can't even talk to this one. We might be talking about McLarens and Porsches. Now don't get it twisted. I fancy myself a master tuner now. And a master driver. So now we're gonna go into the final one. The final tuning that I have for this particular car is a 698 right here. I call it sketchy because it is sketchy. And then we're gonna take a blank one and I'm gonna show you everything that I did to the car. So if you don't wanna, this is a freebie. So if you don't wanna download my tune, you can go and find it yourself. So now this one is for expert drivers. To maximize the speed, I had to compromise in other areas. However, this one is the fastest. But as you can see right there, it does not have the handling as the last one. And the last one doesn't have the handling that the first one had. But if you are a better driver and you don't mind a little bit of oversteer sometimes and you can handle it, by all means, this is definitely the car for you.
Turn around when it is safe.
I want them ultimate near misses. Let's take this all the way to the end. And see, because I like taking this side of the road all the way to the end. Everything you have to be traveling at a slower speed. I don't know what the speed is. I think it's 235 or something like that. To pass a car that'll give you an ultimate near miss. If you're on the wrong side of traffic, I guess it takes into account the speed the traffic is going in the other direction and adds that to the speed you're going, and you don't have to be going quite as fast. I think 200 is fast enough to get yourself an ultimate near miss. So let's go in here. I happen to have a blank one. Completely blank, ready to go, ready to be upgraded, and I'll show you exactly how I did it. So, first we'll go grab the blank one, which is the same color as the one I'm in, so we just gotta find it. There it is. So it starts off B-Class 617. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. So, I go full try hard. In future episodes, we'll tune per class and we'll show you the intricacies therein. But hopefully, you get enough from me tuning this car to understand how to do those things, because the main thing is to understand how each item works. So, here's some tricks of the trade. First, you want to throw on a body kit if it's available. It gives me one more. And you want to check your stats and see exactly what it does to the stats. So it does lower my top speed significantly. However, do we do it? That's the question. I'm going to throw it on anyway because it's on everything else. I'm going to throw it on. So, we're going to throw on the all-wheel drive. Now, the engine is very important. Now, don't be fooled by your speed. So, 0 to 60, 4.2, top speed, 141.7, 0 to 100, 12 seconds. So, we're getting faster. Lower top speed, but it's faster. So, we're getting there. Now, some of these readings aren't going to be completely accurate. See, right now we have the 2.6 liter 4 rotor engine for this right here, and it's giving us 690 horsepower. But we have this over here, and I think this is the 2JZ engine, which will ultimately get you 1270, right? And since we're going try hard, we're going to throw this one in. Next is the front air. And this is the only thing. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the back. Okay. We're not going to put anything in the back for now. We're going to throw on our slicks. We're going to widen our tires naturally, and we'll check everything out. Make sure that we're doing the right thing. 2.527, 2.422. 2.439, right? 2.457. So this is the best choice. Now, for the size of the wheels, again, you've gotta watch because it does add weight to it. your top speed is going to increase, but your 0 to 60 will decrease. So you want to try to find that soft spot in between. So there it is right there for me. And the same thing with the rear. You want to find that sweet spot. So I've increased my 0 to 60 time. There you go. That's a nice soft spot right there. Let's see what else we got. Okay, we got more speed. All right, there's our soft spot right there. And for wheels. So my rule of thumb, it's just the quickest one for me to find. I go down to this one. This is the lightest rim in the game, and there are others that have the same exact weight reduction. So you could just, what I do is I put this one on the car, and then I would go through, say, these, and anyone that doesn't show red underneath it could be a possible aesthetic replacement for it. So these could be an aesthetic replacement because it doesn't add weight to the vehicle and nothing else will remove weight. So I'll just go with these for now. We put our slicks on, we got our right tire width. Now we go to the engine, and don't even bother looking, everything just goes up. 1270 is the height of this right here. So 1270 horsepower and 901 foot-pounds of torque. Now, you put your brakes in, and you want to do the same thing with your suspension, because some suspension will reduce your 0 to 60 time and increase your top speed time. So you want to carefully and meticulously choose it, because like you can see right there, I did gain time. Even though it's 200ths of a second, I did gain time. So we want to throw the right suspension setup on the car, and it differs from car to car. Like, you can get the same engine in the car, but these little subtle things will make a huge difference. So again, with the reinforcement of the chassis, we want to get it within a nice range, but we don't want to mess anything up for ourselves by adding too much weight. So right here, that's our sweet spot. So we get the same as a full cage without the extra weight, and full weight reduction. And it's the same thing with the transmission. Now you're going to be very, very surprised what a difference these transmissions make initially when you look at it from here. So we go in here, 218 miles per hour is the top speed. 218 is the top speed. 224 is the top speed. 218 is the top speed here, but it's the highest 0 to 60. So what we want to do is, I think we're going to go 7 speed rather than throwing a 4-speed in there, because that's really, really hard to work with and get the timing right. 7 speed, even though it does say 214, we'll be able to squeeze the same amount of speed out of it. Right? So then we go because you got to throw your drive line in there, because nothing will harm, like putting a lighter drive line is not going to hurt. And again, here, you got to go in and watch your 0 to 60 times. They change. See? So you could put the wrong differential in the car. You could see it says drift, even though we're making a race setup. It's all about the weight and how these engines respond to these parts, and how these different cars respond to the parts. Now, the very next thing, oh man, I didn't check the weight distribution, but I believe it is 56. I believe it's 56. But let's check to be safe. Yes, 56. Whoops. I checked out, so real quick. Okay, let's check out the tuning and go over some tuning scans. So we'll start with the differential. Because it's got very high horsepower and no wing in the rear, I like to turn my rear acceleration differential down to no higher than 15%. The lower it is, the less chances the wheels have of going sideways when you spin them. There's no better way to say that. So you really want it to be more so in the front, so the car goes in the direction you want it to go, the direction you're pointing the steering wheel. The back you might want a little less so because you want to give it some oversteer, and how much is up to you. Now for the center balance, you have to watch your acceleration and speed and see if it changes. So we know that the center of balance for this car is 56. However, this is telling us that our maximum power is not in that range. So we've brought it up to 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. It's actually not affecting too much. And this is the painstaking thing that you got to go through sometimes to see. See, it does go down to 70.8, and you want it right around that range. So like right in the middle there. So if I could get it to 260, because normally I like to have, so because the car's weight distribution is 56%, the center is at 56, logically. I like having mine 4% to the rear of center. And seeing as how I can achieve this without lowering my acceleration and speed, I will keep it there because that's the optimal way I perform. So for the brake balance, I just keep it right on that weight distribution percentage, and that's the center. I like all my brakes to be equal. And for your braking force, all you got to do is look at your 0 to 60 to 0 ratings and adjust it accordingly. And if it gets lower, you go in that direction, basically. However, it's kind of random. So I'm going to go to the left once. So right now it's 237.4. I'm go to the left once. It's 234.7, right? I'm going to go back to the right, 236.8. See, it's like completely random. So whatever feels the best for you when you're driving, I think is the best tip. Your downforce in the front, since I have no rear wing and most of my differential is rear biased, I will put this all the way to the front to maximize my top speed potential because it does not hamper my 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 performance. Now we have our damping. I used to have my rebound stiffness very high, 14 to 16 at the top, and I used to have my bump stiffness 13, 11, and I've realized over a lot of trial and error that is way too stiff for most cars. Some cars might benefit from, like the Unimog or the Warthog, might benefit from having stronger dampening stiffness, but most cars, that's too high. Those numbers are way too high. This is optimal, and again, I feel it out when I drive it. On the highway, it has some areas that has some bumps on it, and you can figure it out. And for the springs, my general rule of thumb is 2/3 for the front at the top and 1/3 for the bottom, because you want a little bit of squat in the back. So when it squats, it digs into the ground a little bit more. And and then the ride height, I usually slam it. Although slamming it this is something you could also play around with, and you could affect your 0 to 60 percentage and tweak it with the ride height. It doesn't have much effect on this car, but that's another rule of thumb to consider. Anti-roll. This is when you're driving, how much the car leans from side to side in the front and in the rear. So yeah, so you've got to take those into consideration. And this is something that's also extremely subjective and down to feel also. And if you can hear New York City in my background, enjoy. It is what it is. Somebody's getting their life saved, hopefully. We'll get into tow. Tow gives your car better turn-in response. So it adjusts the way the tires are facing in perspective to the front of the tire to the rear of the tire. So tow in would turn the front of the tire in. So the tires would be pointing towards themselves in the front. And toe out would they be pointing towards each other at the heel in the back of the tire. Toe out gives you better turning, and toe in gives you better forward speed. This particular car, toe 0% is optimal. As you can see, changing it in any direction is gonna lower it 1/10 of a point in either direction. You don't want to give up that 1/10 of a point. So we'll keep it here, 270.9. Oh wait a minute, I think I did change it still, didn't I? Okay, there we go. Right. So the gearing. What you usually want to do is you want to take this bottom gear and go all the way to the top until it repeats the number, and you don't want it to repeat the number. So I've gone from 20.7, and you don't want it to continuously increase in increments of a 10th. If it's doing that over and over and over again, pick one of the lower ones and stop there. That's the limit of your engine. But you see how it's 270 miles per hour, 0.7 here, and a little tap gives me 270.9, and another little tap gives me 270.9 again. We take the first 270.9. Any repetitions, you stop after the first one. And then you go back and you give yourself a nice slope from the bottom to the top, and you don't want any gear, unless you have a 4-speed going, you don't want any gear to come in lower than 6,000 RPMs. And that's 6,000 RPMs right there where the bottom of the second gear is touching. And this is optimal. So we're going to apply this setup, and we're going to go into the tune browser, and we're going to see how ours stacks up against some of the others. This one is mine, and this one is mine also. This one is mine also. So we're going to go, nothing is coming close to this tune. Now, here's an example of a tuning scam. I know because I've downloaded this tune. 275.4 is clickbait. This is a person that just wants you to download their tune. They don't care how good the car goes. Because 275.4 is so many repetitions. You saw that it went from 270.9 to 270.9. It probably would have gone to 271.0, 271.0, 271.1, 270.1, and the higher it goes, the more it repeats itself until you can finally get to 275.4. What do you think your engine is doing going through those? It's not revving high. Your engine is giving you 4,000 RPMs as you're trying to get to 275, and it's taking you a while to get there. As you can see, my 0 to 60 is 0.2 faster. I have better weight and better handling than that car.
That's right.
This one is just all around better. Nothing comes close, and I've been seeing that a lot lately. This is what's giving me the confidence to even make this video, because I'm understanding how these things work mathematically. And let's now this car is intermediate driving skills. If you're not quite as good, I'd recommend throwing the wing on it, and that's pretty much all you would need. To turn it into an off-roader, you take your same differential, the one that I recommended be at 15, you put that up to 55. You take your weight distribution, you put that up to 60, 70%. Your ride height, as high as it'll go, throw on some off-road tires, and your dampening on the bottom, you make it really squishy. 0. And you have an off-roader. This is extremely versatile car. This is especially good for early game. But not just early game. This car stands the test of time because I still use mine. Let me show you mine real quick before I get out of here. If you've been watching this long, you deserve to see the livery that I've got on it. So let me show you. Let me see. Which one should I show you? I've got 2. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I don't know. It was kind of glitchy. I did jump into a car and it repeated delivery. But yeah, let's jump into this and see if it yeah. Okay, well, there's my livery. Might as well Forza Vista it so you can check it out. But yeah, this is my Xbox car. I'm an Xbox fanboy. What can I say? I love Xbox. And I call this taped. And this is the less sketchy version. It doesn't do the 270, it's 260 something. But it's elite regardless. But yeah, that's all I got for now, guys. Thanks for tapping in. Peace.
I love you, Uncle Phil, and I just don't want to lose you, any of you. You're not gonna lose us. You are my son, Will. End of story.